2020 brought us a whole host of new games, such as Final Fantasy VII Remake, Animal Crossing, Doom, Miles Morales, and so much more. Even during this lockdown, I'd be surprised if anyone managed to get through all of these great games. I still need to play Hades. But amongst the games we did manage to play, there are some we enjoyed more than others. In this video, we'll be going over our personal favourites of the year.
So I've had the privilege of playing quite a few games, but most of them has been either really old games that I've caught up on, and newer games or remakes. But the remakes and newer games have actually been sports games, and this game doesn't really. But before I even get into that, I feel like if we're going to say a game of the year, it shouldn't just be one I've watched. It should be one I've actually played. And out of the games I've played this year, for this year's titles, for me, the best game of 2020 is Fall Guys, which is a bit left field and it's not me trying to be, because I've only watched some of the AAA titles, and even in the instance of watching these titles, I feel like when you do think about Final Fantasy, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us 2, really good games, really fun, ironically all PlayStation exclusives, but really good games, really fun games. But I feel like what Fall Guys did really well was encapsulate fun. It kind of brought back fun memories. It has links with Wipeout for me and Takeshi Castle and those kind of game shows. And I feel like for me, it did this thing where it kind of, you could see the thinking, like, if we brought these shows back, what would it look like? And I feel like they pulled it off. I don't think they could have pulled it off better. It's an amazing game, a lot of fun, like I've said. The ability to work with friends, because we did. If you're all in the same kind of chat, you can help out and help each other out, which is really cool. But you was competing with each other before that even got to that stage. So, and they're very receptive, the creators, because the changes and stuff were definitely stuff that was suggested by the community, so that's really good as well. But I think when I like to think of games that I like to play, there are games that we love a challenge, and that kind of that ticks a lot of boxes for people, which is why even though I don't get why people like Dark Souls, people love Dark Souls, because it is that challenge and it's that, I guess, the endorphins of beating that challenge. But for me, I would have to say that I just want games that are just generally fun to play. And I don't think this year, for me, a game has done it better than Fall Guys. So for me, that is the best game this year. Or at least the best game I've played, but same difference.
My favourite game of 2020 has to be The Last of Us Part 2. Now, controversial doesn't even begin to describe this game. The storyline and the dev studio caused this game to come under very heavy fire. And I feel that for every person that didn't like this game, there was someone that did. This game was a dark and torrid experience through time, and while The Last of Us introduced me to the genre of horror, The Last of Us Part 2 ensured that genre would become a mainstay in my gaming library. The complexity of the characters, the overall theme of hate between the two leads eventually leading to forgiveness. This game does an amazing job of replicating how cruel, how realistic, how dark the real world is, where no one is happy. I was impressed with the LGBT representation, with the ex-Seraphite Lev bonding with the ex-WLF member Abby, mirroring the relationship Joel and Ellie had in the first game. This is a game that broke barriers and changed the game the first time round when it came out in 2013. And they did more of the same here. They took a brave step forward. And you are going to upset some people when you do that. I I loved this game. And part of the reason it took me so long to complete it was 1, the difficulty of the game, and 2, the emotional gravitas. There were some moments in the game where I had to stop. I had to put the pad down. It was too much for me. And honestly, I breathed a heavy sigh of relief when I completed the game. Because while I appreciate this game, it just reminded me of how dark the real world is. And for some people, they love games for that escapism. I wouldn't say that this is the game for you if that's the case. But if you love great storytelling, if you love thrillers, horror movies, I'd definitely recommend you play this game. And if you haven't played this game because of what you've heard on the internet, I implore you to give this game a chance. You might actually like it. I think this game is well deserved of its Game of the Year title. I wouldn't give it to another game, honestly. I think this is the standard of what games should be going forward. And that is why The Last of Us Part 2 is my favourite game.
This is a bit of a cheat, as this game won't be ready until February 2021, but I really enjoyed it. I've always loved science fiction, but even more so the subgenre of cyberpunk. And playing this game brought worlds from Demolition Man, Altered Carbon, Judge Dredd, Ghost in the Shell, really brought all of these games to life, which is why, if you haven't guessed it by now, Cyberpunk 2077 is my game of the year. The first things first. Yes, the game has bugs. The game's got a lot of bugs, but fortunately for me, I didn't experience many of them. The main bug that I experienced was the game would crash every single time I played it, and that is a deal breaker. Well, it wasn't for me, but I can see how it'd be a deal breaker for other people, because it really does take you out of the immersion. On a brighter note, just on aesthetic alone, the game really grabs me. Most of the people in Night City have been augmented in some way. There's a strong divide between the inner city and the slums, both having cutting-edge tech, but the difference in wealth is still very apparent, which is very cyberpunk. Advanced tech, low quality of life. The story and characters really bring Night City to life. Jackie takes you in as his brother and shows you the ropes of Night City. Jackie is really likable and, like the rest of the cast, really well written. There's Johnny Silverhand, who plays such an integral role in the game, and the way you treat him impacts the story greatly. Panam gives you more insight into the world of the Nomads, which I thought was really cool because I picked the origin story of the Nomad myself. And the story arcs of these characters really bring the game to life as they expand upon the world, giving you new perspectives on the characters you meet in the mainline story and greatly affect how the game ends. The game also has a few Easter eggs in it. So there is a reference to John Wick. There's a guy you go up to and basically he's had a misunderstanding with a hitman, and said hitman's dog, I think you know where this is going. And basically I didn't help the man, I immediately betrayed him. There's a callback to the 3 seashells from Demolition Man. Demolition Man being one of my favourite films just because of the cyberpunk-esque era they live in. But I think my favourite Easter egg has to be the one where they reference The Office. If you smuggle a man out of a dodgy neighbourhood, I wouldn't say dodgy neighbourhood, just a gang-affiliated neighbourhood, and you smuggle him out, you get this really cool dialogue option with him. And it is literally a reference from The Office where there's a man who killed a mafia boss. He's a surgeon, but he did it on purpose.
In Japan, brain sergeant, top of all. Good instinct. One day, Tiger Claw boss needs surgery. But both die on table. Tiger Claws were very angry. I hide in boat, swim to America. Here Dennis saved me. But there is secret. I killed Tiger Claw boss on purpose. World best surgeon, make no mistake.
In Japan, heart surgeon, number 1, steady head. One day, Yakuza boss need new head. I do operation. But mistake! Yakuza boss die! Yakuza very mad! I hide fishing boat, come to America. No English, no food, no money. Daddy, give me job. Now I have house, American car, and new woman. Daddy, save life. My big secret. I kill Yakuza boss on purpose. I could search him. The best.
I love Easter eggs in games, and it's clear the devs had a lot of fun making this game. And to be fair, if you're not allowed to leave the office and you're just stuck there, you might as well have your own fun. All in all, I had fun. Love Night City, and when this game is finished in February 2021, I'm definitely going to go back. I'm going to play as a different character with different origins and even a different build, and just get the most out of Cyberpunk. It's a game I definitely want to replay, and not a lot of games can make me do that. And that is why Cyberpunk 2077 is my personal game of the year. With only 3 of us in this video, we're bound to have missed some great games. What were your favourite games of 2020, and what games are you looking forward to in 2021? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for sticking around until the end of the video, and from everyone in the Streamcast team, we wish you a happy new year.